Jamie Dornan burst into tears. Being forgiven by Amelia is the greatest gift of my life. Under the dim yellow lights of a London press conference room, where the press and cameras were waiting for a statement, Jamie Dornan appeared, his eyes sad and his voice broken. Before the camera, before the microphone and before hundreds of flashbulbs, he broke down in tears, a rare image of a man who always kept his emotions to himself. He said, between small sobs, to be forgiven by Amelia Warner is the greatest gift. Point 1. The beginning of silence and regret. Jamie sat at the podium, the lights shining on the face of a man accustomed to hiding his emotions. He told how a few months ago, on a quiet evening at his villa in the Cotswolds, he and Amelia had a deep argument, not loud, not shouting, but hurtful. Over a simple dinner, candlelight, 2 cups of tea, 2 people with wounded egos. He called it a moment of broken ego. After years of playing the successful man, the star, he realized he had lost his image as a husband, by prioritizing work, prioritizing fame, and forgetting the promises he had silently made to his wife. He looked deep into Amelia's eyes and saw a void, not anger. It was tiredness, disappointment, giving himself time and not each other. Jamie says, at that time, he was silent, for days. No calls, no inquiries. He just closed the door to his office, turned on Amelia's soft music. Amelia was a musician, and wondered what he had done wrong. The scariest thing was not the words, but the silence that made his wife feel, you are here, but not with me. Point 2. A long letter to Amelia, and a new perspective. After long days of reflection, Jamie wrote a long letter to Amelia, not to apologize at first, but to thank her. Thank you for your patience, for the times he came home to find the table set, for the gentle, are you okay? When he just nodded. In the letter, he wrote, you loved me when I was lacking. You were there when I didn't want to see myself. The beauty of Jamie is that he doesn't ask permission to be forgiven. He opens himself up to be understood, and opens himself up to show Amelia that he's seen himself. When Amelia read the letter, Jamie said he saw tears in her eyes, tears that weren't just of sadness, but of realization. When she said, I may be wrong, but you have to see it, Jamie knew he'd been given the priceless gift of forgiveness. And he told the reporter, forgiveness doesn't take away the mistake, it turns the mistake into a lesson, it turns distance into closeness. Point 3. The turning point. Speaking from the heart. Today's press conference, Jamie said he decided to speak out because he didn't want to keep quiet anymore. I want people who love me, he said, to see that this man, who plays the role of strong, cold sometimes, also fails, also needs kindness, needs a hug, needs forgiveness. He was tearful. When you said I forgive you, you kept the promise you forgot when we first got married. You gave me a home, a place where I was welcomed, not just a place to sleep. You gave me a chance to come back. Jamie admitted, he used to think that career, fame, success were the things that brought the greatest value. But now he understands. The greatest thing is keeping promises, being present, loving when the other person doesn't force you to love. 4. Little known. Behind the scenes. Many people know Jamie from 50 Shades of Grey and other notable roles, but few know that he grew up in Northern Ireland with a broken home and his mother dying at a young age. Wikipedia. His childhood was marked by a sense of loss, and his rise to fame brought with it a shadow, a fear of not being good enough. Amelia, sources say, once described Jamie as humble, funny, devoted to his family. The Standard, however, Jamie himself admits that he let his career overshadow his ability to listen to his wife. He wrote in a letter, I hear you but I don't really care. His public apology and gratitude were a turning point, for someone who has kept his private life private and avoided the media. He says Amelia's music, when she helped him through sleepless nights, was his redemption. 5. The meaning of forgiveness. Jamie shares that he used to think, forgive means forget. But he learned, forgiveness is not erasing, forgiveness is looking back with gratitude. When you said, I forgive, you didn't excuse me and say there was nothing more to say, you said we could still go on. You gave me the greatest gift, trust. He says, this gift cannot be bought with money, not given with a title, not given for fame, but given because of who you are, someone who made a mistake, but chose to stand up. And from that moment, he says, choking up, I understood, love is not just about being passionate, but about stepping back when the other person needs to step forward, about being silent and listening, about when the other person is waiting for you to speak but you keep hesitating. Point 6. New commitment, new journey. He publicly pledged that from now on he would spend more time with his family, not just when his filming schedule was free. He would join in the cooking, play with the kids, and talk to Amelia, not as his star wife, but as his partner, as his teammate. He admitted, I used to think I had to be strong to succeed. But now I know I have to be flexible enough to keep love. He said that evening, as they sat snuggled together on the sofa, surrounded by yellow lights, he held Amelia's hand and simply said, thank you for not leaving me. And she just smiled, resting her head on his shoulder. Point 7. Amelia's reaction, and the audience's. While no photos have been released of the moment, Amelia did agree to share a few lines in a letter to her fans, according to sources. I've always believed that everyone has the capacity to forgive, and Jamie chose to see that in me. The greatest gift is not saying, I'm sorry, but, I've changed. Many fans shared on social media that the moment made them feel closer to Jamie, no longer the cold star, but a real man with real feelings. One wrote, it's amazing that celebrities dare to cry in public, and it makes me respect him more. Quote,